Okay, here we go. So if you notice, you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
So if you notice, I helped one of my agents yesterday create a few farms of where she wants to farm. So when we were creating her farms, if you notice, I put, you know, her name in front of each one, just so I like Jessica was saying, labeling your farm is important because you want to be able to go in and remember where it's located. So the more detailed, the better for you to remember. So in all her farms, basically they were all A's, which is great because A's mean high turnover, mean you're going to have a lot of conversion, and that's what you want. So you want to, you know, definitely market to that. So the first thing you want to do is determine how big of a farm do you want? You know, what's your budget every month to be able to be in front of these people? So you figure a 5,000, and this is if you're going to walk, I mean, if you're going to walk it or if you're going to have it mailed. So, you know, you have to keep in mind all of those costs. But if you're at a 5,000, you know, person farm or farm, then you need to see what the cost would be to do postcards. So I think it's like, let's just say it's $400, you know, for the postcards. And then if you're going to have them mailed, or if you're going to pay someone to deliver them, or if you're going to walk the area. So again, all of that determine what your budget is, so that way you know how big of a farm to create. So on the first farm that we created here, it was a total of, it shows the amount of records, 1,588 records is what's in this particular farm. So if that's too many, then, you know, then again, if that's too big for you, then you can even filter out the farm, and that way you can see, you know, what you know, what's quality, because even though it has so many, so like, let's just say this one particular, this is a community that she chose. It has 778 homes, but maybe I don't want to address every single home. And just so you guys know, I don't know if you guys use Corfact or not, but Corfact is a postcard mailing company that us as agents can use, and they have a lot of good deals here and there. They'll give you stuff, you know, coupons and stuff like that off if you, you know, if you go on their mailing list. But what you can do is you can select who you want in that farm, and then you can upload that, you know, email that list to them, and then they will create, you know, the postcards and all that stuff. So it's kind of neat. That's for another class, but I can show you guys the extension of that. Makes it really easy to do if you're going to have it mailed out, because their pricing includes postage. So let's say I have 778. What's nice about this is it tells me on the top here what my average sales price is in the area. So again, you know, it gives you all that information. That's helpful to you. If you notice, if you scroll and keep scrolling and keep scrolling, it gives you the information as to how long these people have lived in the home, which is kind of nice too, because it kind of shows you, you know, look at this person's been there, you know, almost 11 and a half years, you know, just over 13 and a half years, 3.5 years, you know, 10 and a half years. So it shows you how long people have actually lived there. So, which is nice, or rented, we don't know. So what I recommend that you do is, if you're going to do different farming, the first thing you could do is, if you notice on the top it says complete farm, if you go next to the complete farm, it says recent buyers. So if I were to select recent buyers, it's going to scrub, and it's going to it gives me one person. So this looks like it was an LLC that purchased it. So maybe it's not someone that I want to, you know, farm to, but let's just say it was a regular person's name. Then what I would do, and what I recommend, is sending them out a marketing piece saying, you know, welcome to the neighborhood. You know, I'm the, you know, the local realtor in the area, you know, and that way that you introduce yourself. Maybe if you have calendars or something that they can put on their fridge, you want at that time is when you're going to send it to them. Now, a lot of people say, why would I do that when they just closed escrow? They have an agent, you know, why would I do something like that? Well, again, we don't want to assume anything. All we're doing is saying that we are the specialists. A lot of agents don't follow up with their, you know, their buyers. Maybe the transaction wasn't a good transaction and they don't want nothing to do with that buyer. You know, you just don't know. But most agents don't follow up with their you know, their clients or their past clients. So all you're doing is you're taking it from there and you're building a relationship, and then you go, you go from there. So that would be one good thing to do. The next thing you can do is select, like I mentioned, out of state. And so it shows that there's 8 people that currently have out of state addresses. So maybe this is another marketing piece that you can send to them, again, just saying, currently how the market's doing, and if they have any interest in selling, that, again, you're the local expert, that has the information. And same thing with the absentee owners. Here you have 79 records. So that's quite a bit. There's 79 people that are renting in that area. So I would scrub the list really well and take a look and see, who you might think might be interested in selling. You could even look to see what the equity is that they have on the property, and see, what that looks like as well. Like if you want to dig in a little bit deeper. But this shows you over here, again, the years that they've owned it. So they've been a landlord for so many years. So maybe a landlord that hasn't done it for so long, and because of what's going on right now, the buyers are or the tenants aren't paying because of the COVID or what have you, and maybe they weren't prepared for that. So maybe you could reach out to them, send them information on, the tenancy law right now that's in effect. So again, there's always something of value that you can send out to these people to show them that you are the area specialist. And I think we have a question. Check on that real quick. This is too loud. Sorry. Let's see. Or you can go into the owner occupied, which out of all of those is 699. So there's 700 people who are owner occupied. And then again, you can definitely scrub it into your way. You can check to see there's more farm filters here. So you can filter it a little bit more if you want to be more specific, because maybe you want to focus your farm on people who their anniversaries are coming up. And so you want to say, you know what, happy anniversary. You've been in your home 10 years. Congratulations. Or you've been in your home 6 years. Again, we never know who's ready to sell or who's ready to do any type of real estate for that matter. Or maybe they know someone. So it's not just about them, it's about their network of people too. So becoming that agent on top of mind is your goal. And that's, definitely the goal. You could even focus on empty nesters, like I mentioned. So if you wanted to focus on anyone who's been there 25 plus years, which doesn't look like anyone has, but maybe 13 plus years. So these people have been there for a while. So you can also check that and see who's been there longer. And then maybe even look to see people who have 2-story homes. So maybe they want to downsize to a 1-story. You can send out a funny marketing piece about that, something about that, which again, you don't know, who you could attract at that point. The other nice thing about this is you do have the ability to use the premium farm, which the premium part of it allows you to buy leads, which, Fidelity, obviously with the whole RESPA and everything, they can't give anything out because they just can't. That's what the laws, are now saying. So they have to charge you for these leads, which they're 8 cents a lead, which is obviously very minimal. But let's say I wanted to see if there was any notice of defaults in this particular area. Instead of going through each one, I don't know how people look it up. I know old school, we used to go into the title, into the taxes and see if there was a notice of default, which takes forever. But here it tells me that there's 3 records available. So that means there's 3 homes that are currently in notice of default. So if I go over here, it tells me it's going to cost me 24 cents to get these records. So if I wanted to buy these for 24 cents, I already have money in here because I do get some of the leads. So I would simply select get record, and then it's going to give me the addresses to those particular properties. And then again, we already have marketing that gears towards notice of defaults. So that way, once we have those addresses, then we know how to approach, those particular buyers. So that's kind of just an overview of some of the things that the farming is. But what I would do if I were you, especially if you don't have a farm or if you haven't thought about it, it's really, really geared down on how many people am I going to consistently farm? Because I know a lot of times people say, well, I don't have the money to mail out to 10,000 and I need to mail out to 10,000. Obviously, the more you send, the better your chances are. But even if you can't, at least start, at least start with 500, and go from there, but be consistent about it. That's the whole thing, is if you're going to do anything, be consistent. And again, this is something that you should be not working on every day, but at least looking at your farm. You should be knowing, if you're the expert in in that community or in your farm, you should know everything that's going on in your farm. So let's just say you don't get that listing because maybe you weren't marketing, or maybe they have friends or family who are in real estate. So they already knew they were going to go with that person regardless of how good you are. Well, now when the home's listed, you can contact the listing agent and maybe see if you can do the open house. So that way your name and your information stays out there. So again, people see you again, even though it's not your listing, it doesn't matter. They still see your name in their neighborhood. So like I said, you always want to be that person that's giving the information. Stay on top of community events, stay on top of anything that's taking place, any new businesses that are opening, anything like that, giving you reason to let your community know, again, that you're there to provide them with that information. I think it's just different reasons to stay in front of them. And it's not just, hi, do you want to buy or sell your home? Hi, do you want to buy or sell a home? You see what I'm saying? So you want to stay on top of them, giving them more value than just that, information about selling. So those are some tips there. The other thing is, go ahead.
Okay, so that question that you were talking about, what was the company called that mails out the mailers for you?
Core Fact.
Core Fact. I'll write it. And thank you, Marlena, for taking that question.
You're welcome.
Okay, that was it.
Okay.
I have a quick question for you.
Yes.
How often do they agree to do an open house? Like the realtor.
How often? It just depends. It really, really depends. Number one, on the agent. Sometimes most listing agents don't like to do them themselves. I can tell you that, but they might have a team, or they might have someone in their office that's willing to do it for them. But if it's vacant, it's more likely. It's just when it's not vacant, then they just sometimes don't want another company inside their listing. So it just depends. Yeah, it's hard to say the percentages or the amounts or anything like that. But I was telling you guys, if you go back to the farming and like, let's say you want to send your farm information to Core Fact, up here there's this like lines with 3 dots. I don't know what they call that. Do you see that?
Share.
Here? Yeah, the share button. So if you click on that, and if you notice, it gives you the options if you want to mail the file, if you want to export it out, if you want to download it as an SCV. And this right here where it says download Core Fact, that's where you can send it to Core Fact. You download it, and then when you go to Core Fact and then you create whatever marketing piece you're working on, you upload it for them. So then that way they know who it is that you're trying to reach. And I'll give you an example. So I had a buyer who wanted to live in a certain, area. Like, she was just adamant, I don't want anything else, and nothing was coming up. Like, it was like an area that was, just didn't have a high turnover. So what I did was I created a marketing piece about, I have a buyer, a little bit about the buyer, just some information. And then I went in and did the farm for that particular area, like Jessica said, she wanted a 3-bedroom, she wanted this and that. But I didn't break it down there because I thought to myself, well, if I could get a listing in there, then I don't want to limit myself. So I didn't put any of that information. I just created the area, the parameters around, the area of the homes. And then I had, like, let's just say 150 homes. So then what I did was I sent the Core Fact, and I broke it down to owner occupied, and then I broke it down to non-owner, because I just used the verbiage a little bit differently. And because I wanted it to be addressed to them, so that way it felt like it was something for them. And then I mailed it out. And the nice thing about CoreFact is, if they log in wanting information, it tracks it. So it's also a lead generation service as well. So if they go in there, there's like a code that's given, and then the lead comes to you saying, hey, you know, Mr. So-and-so on Crab Apple Lane, you know, is requesting or is looking at the information. So then, you know, so now you know, okay, this person might have somewhat of an interest. So now you can go and you know, definitely send more marketing to this person, or try to get, you know, more stuff out to this person, because maybe they're more likely to sell. So so that is, you know, another good way of doing it. So if you notice, there's different ways here to download, and then you could also send it to customer service, which is to Fidelity's customer service. You can print labels, print reports. So there's just different things, you know, that you can do. You really need to go in here and just play with it, because it's really user friendly. But again, everyone, you know, farms differently. Everybody's looking for different things, but there's so much that you can do. So it's just, number one, fine tuning what your goal is and what you want to get out of the farm, you know, and that way, when you go in there with an intention, and it's a little bit more, like I said, strategic to what you're doing, opposed to, I'm just going to go door knocking today. I'm going to start knocking on all these doors. So you're definitely shooting at a target and not just shooting everywhere. So that's, you know, how that works. And then just so you guys know, also where it has the red check marks here on some of them, you'll notice on email or that, then that means that there are phone numbers available that you can also, you know, pay for. But there are other systems as well that you can use if you don't want to go through this, as far as to find phone numbers and emails. You can also use other systems as well, because I use a couple systems to do different things. But Fidelity Farm is where I start when I want to begin a farm, because I want to grade my area and I want to scrub it and I want to create different ones. So I have different marketing campaigns, you know, to each family or to each home, to know what's going on in each of the houses. So that's basically how I do that. So does anyone have any other questions? Let me see.
Yeah, do you, excuse me, is Fidelity reasonable in price to get the phone numbers and other information, or do you recommend a different company doing that kind of stuff?
You know what, I don't know how much, and this would be a message for Marlena. I don't know if you want to unmute yourself, Marlena, and let them know. I don't know if you guys are limited or if you recommend them going through you. I use a different system, and not because I just don't know much about how to get the numbers. I found that I use Property Radar, which it does cost to get the numbers, but I use that because I find that there is a lot of the numbers are accurate. But I've never used Fidelity's numbers, so I'm not sure how that works.
I'll interject real quick, Sonia.
Okay.
Back when you were able to get the phone numbers from us, obviously they were all free. And then when it became non-compliant, we had to attach a number to these leads. And as you can see, when Sonia was pointing out 4 cents for the few records that were available. So we have to put a number on it, but you're going to definitely not going to be paying what you will be paying on Property Radar. I'm hearing that the leads are pretty much about the same from.
Your voice is gone, Marlena.
I know, you don't want to see me right now, but honestly, the pricing is very, very competitive. So you're not paying ridiculous amount of money for any of these leads that are here. I think the highest amount that you're going to be paying on a lead is, Sonia, and you may have seen this, I think it'd be $4 for a divorce.
Yeah. Yeah, it's $4. It's $4 for a divorce, or for a birth, or for death. So like, you know, you can also look for people who just passed away as well. And, you know, another thing too is, you know, if a home is not in a trust, that's another reason to reach out to these people, letting them know, you know, the benefits of a trust, you know, giving some facts about that, you know, that helps as well. So, I mean, there's so many things, you know, marketing things. And the whole thing is usually try to plan ahead. And I know that can be tough for us sometimes, but I find that it's actually easier if you plan the whole year ahead and you're like, okay, January, I'm sending this information, you know, February, you know, you have it planned ahead. So then that way you build your library, your marketing library, and then that way it's automatic. And because I think that's where we get stuck. We get stuck in, okay, it's already May 1st. What am I going to work on? Where's my marketing? Oh my gosh, Mother's Day. Okay, well, it's already May not 5th now, or May 6th. Okay, well, by Mother's Day. And then you're like, okay, here comes, you know, June, and same thing. It just goes so fast. So the you know, the more preparation you give to your business, then this, you know, then it's going to seem a little bit easier, you know, to you know, to manage. So I think that's another important thing. So farming is something that I think is definitely worth your while. And I think people look for things. And I was looking, and I think the percentage of a homeowner to actually read a postcard that comes to them or a piece of mail is like 54% or something like that. So that's a pretty good ratio. You know, you're going to get, because not everybody is going to do it, but the more attractive your marketing is, or the more informational or educational it is, opposed to, hey, I'm the #1 agent in town. It's like, that's, you know, that's not something that you know, that is going to get someone to keep that flyer. You know, they're going to keep it for other reasons. If there's valuable information about the town they live in, about, you know, the city's events or coupons or other stuff like that. So you could even partner with different local businesses and just let them know, hey, I'm going to send out all this marketing. Can I put 10% off, you know, to bring people obviously into their business? Like, there's so many things you can do. You just have to do the homework ahead of time. So that way, you know, again, you plan ahead and it becomes, you know, a system that's just going and going and going, and you don't have to worry about it. It's on, you know, autopilot, because you already know that it's there. So, but creating, you know, doing this and creating the marketing and creating this is what takes the time. But that's what we're here for. We're here to help you guys. We want you guys, we encourage you to take the time to do it, because again, it's not something that's you're gonna see a benefit right now. You're not gonna go pass out 500 flyers tomorrow and then, you know, all of a sudden your phone's ringing off the hook. Of course not. It's, again, it's just a wheel you're getting, you know, you're starting to spin, and then once it starts spinning, it's gonna roll and roll and roll, and whatever efforts you're planting and you're seeding now, once it grows, because you continue to water it, you know, nothing continues to grow if you don't water it. You can put out a plant in your front porch and it's beautiful, but if you don't continue to water it, it dies, unless it's a cactus. Oh. But you know what I'm saying. So does anyone have any other questions or anything that they want to know more about?
No, I think you gave us some really good information. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, so just start on one, you know, just start on one. And another thing a lot of people get discouraged with, we get into our head because we're like, well, you know, Brenda Sanchez or whatever, I don't know, you know, with ABC, you know, realtors is in the area. It doesn't matter. Remember, it's kind of like this, you know, just stay true to who you are. You know, don't worry about anything else. Do you, because the people that want to work with you and that are meant to work with you will be attracted to you. So, you know, just like, you know, I like to give the simple analogy of like soda, you know, Coke is doing Coke, you know, Pepsi's trying to do the same, and, you know, RC Cola and whatever. Coke doesn't change the way it looks. It doesn't change its marketing. It doesn't change anything, because it knows whoever likes that is gonna, if they're aiming their marketing to whoever wants it, but nothing changes. It stays the same. So it's the same thing, you know, you stay the same and the right person's going to reach out to you, because it's not for everybody, you know, so the right people will be meant to work for you. So don't get into your head and think, oh, I'm not going to do that because it's too hard, or they're not going to like me, or they're not going to this, you know, you don't know, you know, what these people need. And I think if you come across as authentic and you're consistent, like I said, which is the most important thing. And I know that these tools are built for us, but I don't know many agents that honestly take advantage of them. So even if you feel that you don't have the time to do this, hire a virtual assistant, you know, hire someone. It's very easy to learn. There are even other webinars I know on YouTube that show how to dig in and do this. So, you know, you can hire someone to do this for you, get your farming set up and get it going. So that way you guys are, you know, it's another avenue of business that you're, you know, that you're working on. So
When you say virtual assistant, are you talking like David Halbert's database on demand thing? Is that what you mean?
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go out of the country, if you ask me. I'm talking about like virtual, meaning they don't have to be in your office. They don't have to be.
Oh, you mean like Jessica?
Yeah. Well, Jessica's not virtual because she works next to me, but like
How do you
someone if they
find
want to
one?
do it. Yeah, because before Jessica doesn't do my marketing for me. She does other things, but I had another assistant who she worked from home because she had 2 small children and she didn't want to leave them. So she's my marketing. All she did was every month she sent out my marketing. You know, and the beginning of the year, we planned the whole year in advance of what we were going to do, what events I was going to plan, everything. And she was in charge of it. I didn't have to worry about it. I already knew on the 5th of every month, my mailer's gone out. I already knew. So I didn't have to worry about it. I spent my most time with her like in November-ish when, you know, we went to the following year. And then, you know, I trusted her obviously. So she had my credit card information. So she ordered all the supplies that she needed in order to market the postage and everything else. So you have to find someone who doesn't necessarily have to be in the office, be next to you. They can work from home. And it's
somebody like that, Sonia.
yeah. And you know what, if you guys are interested in that, she still does it. So
Okay.
I can even talk to her and then, you know, she can let you guys know. And like I said, you want someone also who's creative, and she's very creative. So she comes up with great ideas. And that is, you know, because not just anyone can stuff an envelope, but if you want someone to kind of do that thinking for you, then you definitely need someone that's creative. But that's what I'm talking about, hiring someone who's, you know, not with you every day and doesn't need to be, you know, they just need to know what it is, you know, obviously what your style is, who you're marketing to, you know, what's your audience like. So that way it comes off authentic. It's you. It's not like she said, Dave Halpern, and it's like, that's not who I am. So when something gets posted, that's not me. Everybody knows that that's not who I am. So it's not me. So yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that.
Okay.
But yeah, if you don't want to do it yourself, believe me, it's worth it. Definitely worth it. And I'll tell you this, when I first started doing it, because I wasn't consistent, when I first started doing it, being consistent which was about maybe 4.5, 5 years ago, within the first 3 months, my past clients were reaching out to me a lot more and referring me business. And I knew that it was because of that, because they would tell me, thank you for sending me that. Thank you for sending me this. Thank you for sending me that. So I knew it had a lot to do with that. And then now every year I send them in November, I send them really nice calendars because again, I want them to, you know, remember me, for me to be on their fridge. I send them before I used to spend, you know, the minimum and get the small magnetic, you know, calendar. But now I buy the bigger calendars where they can write on, because people love to write. So, you know, they put it on their fridge, and every time I go visit a client, I see that they have it on their fridge. So it's worth the investment. They're going to keep it. And they look forward to it, because this last year, I don't know what the heck happened, but some of the flyers some of the calendars didn't end up getting there. And I got several calls saying, hey, Sonia, I never got your calendar. Did you send out calendars? And so that tells me that they look forward to it. So that's why I tell you, you have to be consistent, because they look forward to that. And nobody, well, I can't say nobody, but very minimal people are consistent. And I think that's what sets you apart, is just being consistent.
Okay.
So you can send out all kinds of different things. So.
Okay. Great. You know what I did for myself to start is I've been meaning to do this for a long time, but I just finally got around to it, is I printed out 30 label, on the 30 label sheet, each column is one client's address, so that I'll know that I send something out to them 10 times a year at least. But I think there's mixed feelings about the label versus somebody handwriting it. Do you think there's a big difference?
From what I understand, there is. I personally don't use labels. I make her handwrite every single one of them. Yeah,
Okay, good to know.
yeah. And that's the whole point. I can, have, a 10-year-old stickers. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I want. What I want is, I want it to have that personal feel. So, you just give her so many hours and you tell her, you know what, I give you, 10 hours this week to work on my marketing. You don't want to say, oh, just tell me how many hours you worked and bill me. No, you want to tell her, you know what, you have 10 hours this week to do this. And then that's how you do it, stuff like that. But I definitely personally like the personal touch. So I think, and I do believe that does help.
Okay.
We have some questions in the chat box. Where did you order your calendars from?
That is a good question. There is 2 companies that I typically order from, and so I'm not sure which one it was exactly, but I can tell you for sure it's either Magnet Street or let me see what the other one is. Hold on really quick. Or House of Magnets or Magnets USA. It's one of those 3, actually, one of those 3. So did you get that? Magnets USA, Magnet Street, or House of Magnets. And actually, to be honest with you, if I were you guys, I would go on to each one and create a profile because you want to receive their coupons. So what I do, and Jessica will tell you, I have marketing for days. And the reason I do is because people love free stuff. And so I try to buy it at the least, the minimal cost possible. So what I'll do is if I see that they're having a special on certain calendars or certain, because I do buy smaller calendars for my farms. So obviously for my clients that I've done business with or that I'm potentially doing business with, for those, I'm going to actually send them the really nice calendars. But for the farming, obviously I'm not going to spend as much money just yet. So I send them out smaller calendars. So I look to see when those are on sale, or I look to see when they have different, just different marketing items on sale that, that I feel that I can give away even at my open houses, or anytime I do a listing presentation or a buyer's presentation, then I will include a package, and I put a lot of free goodies in there because I want them to walk away with all my information as well and for them to keep that. So those are some of the things that I do. And in regards to, I seen Lena's question, how do I keep track of expires in our farm? So that would be a question from Marlena if it's done in here, because I don't do it in here because to be honest, I don't know if you can or not. But the best way that it's been for me to help me is in the MLS. So I create a search area of my farm, and then it's on a saved search, and then I just put expired, and then basically that's how I will get notified in the morning, or as soon as it becomes expired. Usually it's I get notified immediately, but usually in the morning is when I check to see what came up in that area, and that's how I keep track of that. So is there?
What do you send them if they're expired?
You know what? I have we do a CMA that we send them.
I see.
And then also, just depending on what, who the agent is. If it's a local agent, then because if it's not a local agent, then we'll send a marketing piece that says, you know what, having a local agent, the benefits of having a local agent, knows the area and stuff like that. We'll do something like that. But if it is a local agent, then we just send a marketing piece that, again, gives the CMA. I will give information about, me. Of course, I send my resume and a little bit of information about me. But I'll show you really quick. Oh my goodness. So let's see. I know I have it here. So tell me if you guys can see my screen. Can you see this?
Yes.
The flyer?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
this is actually in Design Center at the Remax Center. So all you do is input, and then you put your name and your information as the agent at the bottom. But I just include this, and then also what I do, just so you guys know, and I actually have gotten good feedback. And it's not that maybe they don't list or what have you, but they respond. So you can make this into a picture. So if what you do is you can, and then obviously you can take a screenshot of the CMA, like just the first page, just really something real quick. But you can text it. So I'll go into Property Radar. I'll see if there's a phone number for them. And if there is, then I'll send them a text message with this flyer, the front page of the CMA, and then I'll just let them know, I noticed, that your home didn't sell. If you have any interest in, relisting your property, or if you want to talk to a local professional, who obviously can, try to help you get results, no commitments or, no strings attached, just want to give you the information so you can make the best decision for you and your family, future. I'll send this. And you can tell a lot of times they'll respond and they're like, thank you so much for the information. Or, you know what, we actually already signed and we're relisted with, the same agent. Or, you know what, we decided not to sell. But it's amazing. The texting does work. So, and I think because it's a nice picture and it's, you're not coming off pushy or anything. It's just, if you think I can help you, I'm here to help you, and that's really what it is. And again, it doesn't cost us anything. And if you set up the system, again, in the MLS, you can do you can even do a bunch of different areas and not just, your farm. You can say, I want any home in San Bernardino County or any home in any particular area. So that way you get more of these. And then all you do is, again, have someone, like I said, a virtual assistant or someone else, like in the morning, you get the list, you forward them the list, they log into your Property Radar, they get this. Again, these are already created. You make this flyer one time, you save it in your marketing library, and now anytime an expired comes up, you take this, you do a real quick CMA, which again, those are things that take, minimal time, but you have a system. And I think that's the important thing. A lot of times we're not systematic, and we have to do something every time we're going to do something. Right. So that's what makes it seem overwhelming, because we're like, oh my gosh, I want to reach out to this person, but oh man, I have to create this now. And so that's what stops us. Yes. It stops us in our tracks and we do nothing, or we spend 5 hours on a flyer and then we're like, okay, someone just called me. They want to do this now. Okay, off to the next thing. And that doesn't get done. So that's why, like I said, the library, and that's something I'm really, really big on. And Jessica will tell you, I have a library full of marketing because I use it all. And I love it because to me, it's visual, and people are visual. They don't want to just hear you call them, hi, I'm the best realtor, I want to help you. Right. It's like they've already gotten 15 or 20 of those calls. They're done. Right. So here it's refreshing. It's at a distance. You're not in their space. Like I said, there's so much technology now. You can do so many different things that you don't actually have to do, certain things. And like I said, the people who I can tell read it, if it says read, because, on iPhones, you can see it says read. If I see they read it and they didn't respond, well, guess what? Within 24 hours, we're going to deliver them something to their door because I know they saw it. So now they're going to be familiar with my name because they've seen it. So again, you just have to have some type of system so that way, it works. And trust me, being consistent, it'll work. It's a numbers game. That's all it is. It's all numbers. So you got to keep working it, till you build up those numbers and, till they get lowered too.
Good stuff.
And I can just tell you guys, everybody asks her too where she gets her stuff. Like all the calendars, like at open houses, they'll take them. They take the stuff. And me and Katie did an open house for you on Iris, I remember, and we had someone go in and we gave them your stuff because we were brand new. We had just started with you for like a week, I think, or something. And somebody called you, I remember, from that place because they took a flyer. They didn't want to speak to us. They just took her stuff and they walked away, and somebody called. So it works. You just have to keep doing it consistently, like she said.
It's all in timing. And again, a lot of times people think, oh, it's not working because, I did this and it did nothing happen. But just remember, it's timing. So it's not our time, it's their time. So you want to give them value so that way when it is their time, they have your information or they remember you. It's like, oh yeah, this person, you know, maybe they threw it away, but it's like, you know what? She sends stuff every 30 days. She's going to send something. We're going to get it again. So, you know, we'll, you know, it'll be here. Or, you know what? We see their signs in the community. So that is, that's why I tell you, being consistent, you're not a one-hit wonder, as they say, right?
Yeah, right.
So
That's good.
so yeah, so if you guys have any questions, I'm telling you, I could talk for hours. I absolutely love everything that I do, and I really do. And like I said, me and Jessica, I'm so happy, like I said, because she's definitely my match, and she, you know, she brings a lot of my ideas to life, because I'm full of ideas. And so I just try to make it more efficient and try to find the ways so we're not working 24 hours a day, because we literally could, you know, because our job has so many different hats. But
Right.
we also need to learn how to leverage that as well, because otherwise we wouldn't have a life. So I want to say that I'm finally, and I feel blessed, you know, I feel like I'm to that part where I'm doing what I should be. And that's, you know, teaching and sharing, because my agents are helping me with, you know, with the business. And it's just, everything is falling into its place because of the systems that have been built over the years. And it does take time.
Right.
You know, and I heard someone say, you know, don't compare your chapter 1 to my chapter 11. And it's true.
Yes.
Because, you know, just start, you know, you have to start somewhere, and just start today and say, what do I want to do differently? And I think that's the most important thing, is just start. You have to, just like a diet, you know,
Right.
like one time I remember I told my husband, gosh, I want to lose all this weight. He's like, Sonia, it didn't take you one day to gain all that weight. So how are you going to expect to lose all that weight in one day? I'm like, fine. So it's the same thing, you know, we didn't, you know, you're not going to build your stuff in a day.
Yeah.
It takes time. So it's patience, and just, but keep at it, and you'll see your results in time. You really will. They'll be there. It's not a hidden secret. So any
Thank
other
you.
questions? Like I said,
Thank
I
you
could
so
talk for
much,
days.
Sonia. Thank you.
Thank you. Good information.
Yes.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I can't believe it's Friday. So you guys have a great weekend, and
Happy
kill it.
Mother's
Kill it.
Day.
Yes. Happy Mother's Day. Definitely. Mother's Day. Yeah. See, it's already. Yeah. And like, mark it out to your, we actually did a marketing piece we did one for Mother's Day, but we did also one for graduation. So it's still not late to do the one for graduation. You can do the, like, you know, some type of, you know, because right now, obviously the graduates are all sad. They don't get to walk and, you know, have their normal, you know, graduation. So we just wanted to kind of highlight the graduates that are in your, you know, in your sphere or in your database or what have you. You know, we want to highlight them. And then maybe you can raffle off something to, you know, you can choose one, do like a raffle or something, and then choose one to give maybe like an Amazon gift card to, or something. Just, you know, congratulations on your graduation, you know, something, but just to honor them. And then you get people to share your stuff too. And, you know, follow you. I mean, that's the whole point, right? You want more people following you. So,
Right. Okay.
So.
All
All righty, you guys have a good one, and we will see you guys real soon.
Yep.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. Bye.